sorry, but I must interrupt this show. Lennard, you know what it is. Hey, Ham Solo. It's time, baby. Low. It's time how we do. Hey. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we in. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you in red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go.
Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome to another phenomenal episode of Behind Them Six with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. And today I have a phenomenal guest. You'll definitely see him every week on Mav's channel. And he does quite a bit of work himself. He does some work inside the industry himself as well. Let me introduce to you guys Mr. 3BIT's. What's cracking this evening, brother? Thank you so much for coming through today. How are you doing this evening? And welcome.
Hey, man, I'm good. We've been trying to do this show for for quite some time. So, finally,
that ain't no lie.
Yeah, I think it's been like a year or something. But yeah, I really appreciate the invite. I've been wanting to hop on here when I got the chance. So I appreciate the invite, man. It's gonna be a good show.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's my pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for showing up and everything like that. If you could, please let everybody know where they could find you so we can go on ahead and get started.
Yeah, on Twitter, you guys can find me. I am I3BIT, or my animator name, Mario Andre. But yeah, you guys, most people in the community know me as 3BIT, so you guys can find me on right there. Yeah,
there you go. You guys can see it right below. Yeah, I got it posted up just so a few people can see out there. If they're wondering what it looks like when you get to the channel, that is what it looks like right there. But yeah, go on ahead and check him out, subscribe to him, follow him, check him out on the different shows that he appears on and whatnot. But brother, it is a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much again for stopping through. But let's go on ahead and get this thing kicked off, because I asked you prior. I only ask people like a very specific question before the show starts. And if y'all have been here before, you guys already know. I always ask people, what was the first console that you got into? What was the thing that really got you into gaming at first? And 3BIT went on ahead and told me, thing that I love right here, this big old sucker, this Sega Genesis, which was like pretty much my first thing as well. I know how special it was. Okay. Yes, I mean, like, I played the NES first, but like the first thing that I had like access to regularly was the Genesis, and man, I treated that thing like dog shit. But I loved it so much. I was just very.
I don't know how that thing worked. My thing, it was like tossed around. Those are the old systems.
Talk about.
You feel like you could throw it and it still works.
That thing could survive nuclear warfare. The only thing that would mess up is like the AC adapter, and you'd have to just jank it around a little bit, and it'd keep going. Yep, wind it up sometimes, or like like put a case behind it. Or
I put some tape on mine a little bit.
Mess
what you could. Yeah. I think my first game on the Sega Genesis was probably Streets of Rage, the first one.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think that was my first one, and then the other ones are kind of embarrassing. I think my second game was like Barney. There's like a Barney's hide and seek on Sega Genesis.
There was a Barney's game, yeah.
Yeah, that
They,
was
they
probably my.
actually made it for the Master System and
Oh, did they?
the
Okay.
Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That was it.
That's what's up. That's what's
What's
up,
up,
man.
big
So talk about those times a little bit. What was it like in your household? Young and gaming and stuff like that. Did you have rules set aside? Was it something like the whole family was down with? Was just you and the pops, or
Yeah.
what was it like in the house for you gaming?
Originally, I would say it was mostly me, my dad playing on the Sega Genesis, or he had like Duck Hunt on the SNES. And he would we had like the attachment. I would cheat
Right.
sometimes and put the gun all the way up to the TV. That was the trick back in the day. Um, yeah, so I would play a lot of probably SNES and then Sega Genesis for quite a while. Till I beat Streets of Rage. I was like, man, what's next? I finally beat a game, and a lot of games back then they were hard to beat. So your playtime was like as long as you kind of wanted it to be. But yeah, for a while it would be me, my dad, and then after quite some time, I got into different systems. Right, so if we were to track the first system to uh, when me and my sister started to play. Um, I had the Sega Genesis, the SNES, and the N64. Eventually, I guess maybe the GameCube. I'm trying to remember the exact, but at some point when I got the original Xbox, I had this thing called the exhibition disc where they on the original Xbox, where they had just demos of original Xbox titles, and I played through all the games on there, and the very last game was a demo of Halo. So I played that to pretty much to death, and it was M rated. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I could play this. I was like 9 or 8 or something when
Sure.
when I first got that. So um yeah, me, my dad, I just had to show my dad. I was like, "Look at this. This is cool." It was one level on Halo. It was the silent cartographer, where you're just on the beach, and it was co-op. So me and my dad played the demo like a million times, and then eventually I got my sisters into it. And so that was one game that me and my whole family pretty much we all played Halo. Got into tournaments and stuff like that later on, but yeah, that was pretty much I guess my journey into like really loving gaming. It was like a I don't know, I took it from more casually, and then when I got around the Halo time, that's when I like yeah, I'm a gamer. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it sounds like your family really helped indoctrinate you into gaming in a positive way to kind of get you all uh you know relaxing at home, being able to do something fun. It sounds, you got your sisters into it and stuff like that. That's pretty
Yeah.
wild. Not a lot of people can say that they had a history like that. So
It was a
congratulations to
weird
you.
one, because my parents like encouraged me to play games, and because they knew that I could learn how to like do different stuff like video editing eventually, or just what I do now in the industry, and game design. I was interested in like how they built the levels, so I would mod levels in like Halo. So it really was a gateway for me getting into the industry just from playing video games. It's something they kind of encouraged. So when I was a kid, I would just make dumb videos of grunts from Halo, just like fighting each other. You guys could look it up. It's called Grunt Wars. I was like maybe 10 or something like that. I made like 4 of them, like Grunt Wars 2, 3, 4. It's me making dumb videos when I was a kid, and yeah, and my it was a weird thing. My parents were like, yeah, play video games
That's
and
dope.
learn. It was definitely unconventional, I guess. But
I
yeah.
mean, you sound like you had some pretty cool unconventional parents, though.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
most people were just like, get your ass up off of that. Get off of the Nintendo, right? Even though it was like an Xbox or something like that, right? Get off of the
yeah.
Nintendo and go take your ass
Go
to bed, or
outside
go do dishes, or go outside and play like a real kid, or something like that. I don't know. I
yeah.
mean that's the kind of shit that I was told or whatnot. My mom
Yep,
didn't
yep.
know what the hell was going on with gaming. But the thing is my parents or my mom was encouraging in the sense of like me willing or being okay with playing it. She was just like she just didn't have that kind of philosophy like your parents did, whereas like she could see it going somewhere.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. It's like flip floppy with some people. Like, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the more common thing, right? Where a lot of parents or older people don't really understand gaming or how how is this like kind of a form of entertainment and the fun of it. And I think what helped probably is my whole family, they're all artists, so that's probably where it kind of led to that more relaxed nature of me being
That
able to
definitely
play
makes
games and
sense.
stuff. Yeah, so my
They
whole
could
family's
see
an
the
artist.
art behind what you were playing and was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's some high quality art right there.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's probably why. If my, dad didn't do art, uh, or anything, I don't know, that it probably would've been way different.
No doubt. Well, that's an interesting take right there. I mean, I mean that really makes sense. Somebody that's in a family that like really respects art is going to look at
Mhm.
video games probably a little differently than a family that's maybe very much into like I don't know, like teachers or
Yeah,
or some sort of parents that are like doing like production type of work or something like working in a factory or
yeah,
whatnot. They're gonna look at stuff a little bit more different, or doctors or stuff like that, than somebody that's actually like in the field of like working on art or some sort of appreciation with art. They're gonna look at like maybe something that's oh shit, they're putting art digitally now, like, and it's looking
yeah,
it's looking like it's like some extremely high production type of stuff. They're gonna respect that
right.
a little bit differently than some
Yeah,
other
so
folks would.
that could be it. That's a good point. That maybe it's like the analytical side of the brain versus the artistic brain. I don't know. It does change the way you see things. I know a lot of artists are introverts, for example. Like they build worlds inside their head, and then you ask them, um, like, "Hey, tell me about the world you're building." They're like, it's it is what it is." And that's
Just
what
modest,
you
right?
get out of them. Yeah, yeah. That's just artists, and I love talking to artists and people in the industry or gamers because it's like that's their world. That's something they can vibe with or escape. Gaming is a form of escape and entertainment and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I love that stuff, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do art for a while just because my parents did. It was that sort of rebellious
Yeah,
sort of phase.
right.
But yeah, over time, I'm like, wow, this is actually such a cool field. You know, so I wasn't sure.
What was it like growing up like with like the other kids and stuff like that, like not in your household but like
Yep.
school and blending and fitting in and stuff like that? Like where was
Mhm.
gaming at for you during the times
Mhm.
of like middle school, high school, when you're really starting to mature out and figure things out for yourself? Where
Yeah.
was gaming at for your life at that point?
At that point, I mean, I was homeschooled for most of my life, right?
Oh, okay.
So, what I did was I did a lot of programs with other kids and stuff. Sometimes I'll be like in a homeschool program where I'm with other kids and we'll have like homework together or things like that. But I feel like around middle school ish time, I mean, I was playing Halo professionally, so I would enter in tournaments when I was a kid, and win them and earn money from doing that. I feel like that was also a factor. Like my parents were like, "Wow, you're getting money from playing video games." So that was probably a sense where I started to look at games way differently. And it started at a young age. So I was like, wow, video games can be so many different things. Um, but yeah, that's when I was really getting into like competitive play. So on Halo 1, I was joining like different gaming teams and clans at the time, and then eventually I joined this one team. They were called it had different members. Like I was so scared, someone else was like, let's just make up a name like So Rizzed or so boss or whatever like that. Um, and I was in that clan for a while, and that was his own community. Eventually, I joined a professional team, and we competed, got to the top of the Halo One leaderboards at the time.
Man.
Made some money. I mean, that was my childhood. So it was an interesting I don't know, interesting upbringing, I guess.
I mean, that's wild. I mean, there hasn't been too many people that I've had on this show that said that they actually competed as a child growing up in games and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm starting to see like the picture that your parents are seeing a little bit, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yo, we're artists. This stuff is art. Shit, now he's a kid making money playing art. Like it's just I mean, it had to take him back a little bit. Like, yo, like this is something different. So I want you to go from there and just kind of tell me what it was like towards the end of school. Not exactly how it was like for you playing video games, but like the mindset. Because as you say right now, what you do for work and stuff like that is
Yeah.
like doing things within, video games and stuff like that. So I want to know what your mindset was on like getting into the industry.
Mm.
um did you have any thoughts or dreams, I should say, possibly at that
Yeah.
point when you were young, graduating through high school, like, man, I want to actually get into this, like maybe playing video games professionally or actually
Mm.
making video games or something like that? Where was your head at?
Yeah, so if I start from the very beginning, where I was considering leaving art, it was mostly because of my um, like my whole family does art, so like I'm gonna be different. But eventually, I realized like, wow, I actually really love art. My dad, he was a comic book artist for Marvel. He did like stuff for like Thor and Hulk and stuff like that.
Oh,
So he would bring me these comic books when I was a kid, and
Pops
I
is
would draw
VIP.
his comics. Yeah, yeah. So he would show me all these different like books and stuff growing up, and it took me a while to appreciate that. But at some point around high school, I started really getting into Halo montages. I know it all kind of circles back to gaming because it is how I got into what I do now in the industry. But I would make like Halo montages, and it would get all these different views, and people really liked them, and I was like, I'm gonna make one more video, and it'll take me like a year or so to make, and then after this, I'm only gonna make my own content. That's kind of how it started. So I was like, I'm gonna make this one montage. It's gonna take a long time. It's called Sketch 2. You guys could check it out. And I finished it. It had like 3D Master Chiefs, and it had like clips that people gave me, like it's Halo 3 clips and things like that. And then after I was like, I'm gonna make a video game, and I'm gonna learn how to create video games. I'm gonna learn how to edit even more. So I started a business, and I basically stopped doing any content for anybody else that relates to like Halo or anything. I was like, I'm gonna make my own stuff. So that's, I feel like where it started, because I was like, no more making content for, I love those games and stuff, but I want to see what it's like to actually make a game. So I learned how to make video games. I created this one game called Abandon, which is funny because that
That is funny.
PlayStation game, they don't
Right.
own the rights to that game. I own the rights to that game. The name, which I find is hilarious. That's this whole other story, but yeah, I created a game called Abandon. A soundtrack track, launched a Kickstarter and stuff for it. And I learned a lot from making that game. I learned about game engines, I learned about programming, and I went to school for it. And that school was pretty hard, so I went to this other school called AAU, did game design, and then I was like, man, is this what I want to do? And I went to another school, and I switched my major from game design to video, uh, like animation. And yeah, I mean that's kind of how it started. In school I did animation. created like, the longest film in the college. Um, worked on like Rick and Morty. That was fun. I worked
What?
on these different cartoon. Yeah, I have a weird sort of track to where I got. So
This
worked on
man was
all
working on Rick
these
and
shows.
Morty.
Yep. That was a,
Pickle
a fun
Rick.
episode. Yep. The episode, if you guys watched it, the episode where it's like keep summer safe. That was episode I animated. um so yeah, so I animated on Rick and Morty and all these different shows, and then man, where after that? Yeah, then I stopped. I mostly did a lot of freelancing work. I started working in the gaming industry, did stuff for the Fable that you guys know about, um, and Ubisoft and a couple of other companies. And now I'm in commercials. So that's pretty much my journey. If I were to like shorten it up a little bit, it all started from Halo, me loving Halo, doing videos, to now doing videos for like different brands, and commercials and stuff like that. So yeah, very crazy uh path of where I am now.
So, like, what are some like commercials that you've worked on?
So most of the Aflac commercials, if you see Aflac, is probably I probably worked on it. Um, if it's a 3D duck too, I do most of the 3D animation for the Aflac duck. So sometimes I'll go in my room and do the movements for the duck, and then animate them. So most of the Aflac commercials, I probably had some hand in it. Holiday Inn, that's another brand. So if you see any Holiday Inn commercials, most likely I edited it. Um, what's some other brands? We trying to remember. Carter's is like a baby brand, do their commercials. And recently I've been directing the Auto Trader commercials, so doing their
Yo.
commercials. So that's the one I've been working on. Actually, today I've been working on all day, and even after the show, I probably have to work on.
What's it like working for like because these aren't commercials that are like, within the state or region. These are nationwide commercials. Some would
Yeah,
even argue like international.
yeah,
So like because I'm sure like some of those commercials get shown in like different languages or something like that, right? To other audiences those that maybe those countries kind of have that company within the country, the confines of the country or whatnot. So what is it like actually being out there and having your content? Like, sure, I mean, you love video games and whatnot, but
yeah.
working with the Affleck Duck and doing
Yeah.
all this random stuff with Auto Trader, like,
Thank you. Yeah,
congratulations,
it's
brother. That's some good stuff.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been it's still weird sometimes when I'm just like on Hulu or something and my commercial pops up. I sometimes do a double take because I'm like, this file's on my computer. Like now I'm seeing it as I'm like watching some random show. It never I don't know, it never gets old. It's just really cool to see your work out in the wild. It just does something where it's like a this validation thing where you work on something for so long, like you're staring at it, you're like, I don't know if anyone's gonna like this, or um I don't know, it's definitely different. And I work with a bunch of talented uh group of people where they I mean, sometimes I don't have time to think about it because I'm on to the next commercial. Like working with Affleck, for example, they are a very talented group of people that I get to see this duck on the set. and work with all the different people. It's hard. I
There's a
can't
real duck.
completely talk about it. Yeah, that's the part I can't talk about.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
that's why I'm like trying to talk around it. But working with we have to approach like this is the duck. We work with the duck. But no, that's always really fun to work on like different brands. They all have different identities, different ways of presenting themselves, and that's the fun part. It's the interesting part. I don't think like I don't take it for granted. It's really cool. Um, just like going down the street and seeing a billboard I made, or going and watching
All right,
Hulu.
brother. I gotta stop you. I'm gonna blow the whistle real quick. I'm gonna blow the whistle. Wow. All right. Just a second. I need you to I need you to take a few steps back and tell a brother
Yeah.
what it was like even applying for these type of jobs and knowing that you had, your ducks in a row, your resume is cooking.
Yeah.
Like you have to know that, hey, my resume is at this point to be able to then give this a try. I mean, some people, like to throw up Hail Marys or whatnot, but you'd rather not. So I want to know what it was like for you, like at the very beginning, like take me then, like to where you had to like fill out the application and then sit and wait, and then you got the email or text or call, like take me to that moment to young baby bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I want to be like super honest about this because I feel like a lot of artists are super talented, but they don't know that part of like applying or organizing your work and stuff. That's like something I always found very interesting. And I mean, being a black creator in this space, I feel like I've had to work my butt off just to get where I am today, like do 10 times more work than an average person probably. So I feel like I would do a lot of freelance work. Before I got to the position where I am now, I would do a ton of freelance work, and sometimes not for the best amount of money. Sometimes I would have to compromise stuff like that. Like, man, I'm doing like 50, 60 hours of work in like a couple days. Um, how much money can I charge, or stuff like that? That part is my least favorite part of art and getting into the
Sure.
industry is knowing your worth, knowing like, hey, I know I'm talented, I can do this amount of work, this is how much I charge. And people always undervalue art, so they're just gonna be like, is it worth it, but
Yeah, they look at it like it's a dime a dozen, right?
yeah, but it takes you forever. I always think about that quote from Picasso where he's like, um where he does a painting in like 5 minutes, and then he gives it to somebody, and he's like, he charges, let's say, like $1,000, and the guy's like, why would I pay $1,000? You did it in like 5 minutes. And he's like, no, it took me a lifetime.
Right.
And it took you a lifetime to learn how to do it in 5 minutes. It took hours of studying, things like that.
Yeah, it's like making a video, right? For a lot of people, it's like, this stuff used to take me 3-4 hours to figure out, and now I can, I got a template, and I can whip something up in like 20 minutes for you.
Yeah, like I'm sure with like you live streaming and stuff, like even when you're talking to guests and stuff, I'm sure from when you first started to now, you probably have learned a lot about like
Oh, a
projecting
lot
to
less
people.
pauses, a lot less a lot less,
Right,
just bull. And I get to cut all the, the trim the fat, right?
right.
Off of my content, because now I know how to, get right straight to the meat and potatoes.
Right. Yeah. So I it's like the same with art, and I feel like a lot of people take art for granted, and so it was a lot of battling people, like trying to worm my way in an industry, because I worked with people. I worked with like companies like Chick-fil-A or Cartoon Network and all these big brands, but then I would work for them and then silence and nothing. I'll be like, wow, it's like nothing happened. I just worked for this big brand in silence, you know? Um, so at some point, someone just gave me an opportunity. They're like, we see your work. Your work is incredible. You think you want to animate the Aflac duck? And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And then since then, I've been
Did you think it was a joke at first?
At first I was like, you're hiring me to animate just a duck? Yeah, like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Yeah, this sounds cool. But before I even got to that point, it was just a struggle, man. I was constantly trying. It always felt like I was just trying to prove myself, even though like every new client, I'll be like proving myself and putting hours and hours of work, sometimes undervaluing myself, which I should not have done. And whoever's starting off in that space, just know that, just like make sure your portfolio is ready. Make sure pretend there's like billionaires in the room. What needs to happen to have that? You need your resume ready. You need your website. Make sure that's up. Make sure your video, if you know you could do better, and your animations or video editing, do it. You know, spend the time, do it. The only way to get better, to do anything better, is to just do it. Um, you know, go for it. A lot of people ask me like, how do I get better and stuff? Just work on stuff. You know, just animate. Take one day. You have like 1 hour, one free hour. Animate, animate for that 1 hour, even if it's not done or whatever. So yeah, I mean that was pretty much my path. It wasn't easy to be recognized as a Black animator, video editor in this industry, even especially as a game designer, right? Being in the industry, working on these big games, I'm like the only Black person usually in those rooms, right? It's like it's like you have to work hard to be in that room as a Black creator. So yeah, it is what it is.
That's wild, man. I mean, that's a dope story though, man. And in just surprises after surprises kind of came after that. Like, you know, now that somebody's seeing it, then the other people start to notice you, right?
Yeah.
And they start to, that person that we looked past was actually good, you know, pretty good at what they did.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like, because I'm sure this has happened.
Mhm.
Tell me what it was like to get a call back from somebody that passed you up.
Those are always the best moments, man.
I know it's
Like,
happened.
yeah, it's definitely happened. I like those moments just because, like, I love proving people wrong. Like, I love, I don't know, it like fuels me in a way to have someone have a perception of you, and you're like, oh, word, okay, and then you like try and break it. I don't know, it just does something to my to my brain where I'm like, I love proving people wrong. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
like being the second string quarterback and being like, yeah, I told you I was better the whole time than the first
yeah.
one.
Like,
And
word,
now
okay.
you seen it. I mean, I just put about 5 on their head just now.
Yep. Like,
Right?
this could have been us, but hey, you were tripping. So no, that's happened a few times where the people who I would apply for, or be like, hey, like can I get in there, and can I get in the door? And they're like, nah. And then I would, by some crazy circumstance, like end up in industry, and those same people who kind of rejected me, I'm like, they're like asking me for advice. So that has been interesting. Very.
I'm sure you gave a few side eyes before.
Yeah. It's like, it's hard for me to be petty. But for some people, I could be petty, but I like sharing knowledge and things like that. Like, I'll be like petty for like maybe 5 seconds. They're like, all right, you're cool, you're fine. I proved you wrong. You know, let's talk.
Yep. Game over. I win. We're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I proved you wrong. All right, now we can talk. You know, so
Okay. So, how long have you been doing that stuff now?
I've been video editing. I mean, technically, I started when I was like 13. And that's when I was just doing videos on YouTube, just gaming reviews or the montages or things like that. That's honestly how I learned. I would look up tutorials. People would ask me to do like fan montages of different games they liked, and I would be like, okay. Um, and I just learned from doing that, and I would do that every day. And so I technically started when I was 13. Um, and then I dived into so many other things. Like I was saying, like I went to game design and learned how to 3D model and animate and how to do things in gaming engines. And because I knew how to video edit it, I like started to combine those two things. Um, which is pretty much what got me my Affleck or my commercial job, to basically 3D animate the duck, and now I'm doing mostly video editing for these commercials. But I really just combined those two passions, like doing montages and stuff for games, and then eventually wanted to do game design, and then I started like learning um, from those two, and then just kept watching tutorials and just kept doing it every day until I got better at it.
All right. So back to the video games now. I
Yeah.
want to know, like, what kind of dreams and aspirations do you have now for video games? Seeing that you've had some, creative juices flowing in the past, you've had some, you've actually dropped a game before, abandoned, right?
Yep.
You actually dropped a game before, so
Mhm.
you have history in it and stuff like that. You've done some video editing for gaming companies and stuff like that. Now, do you have any further aspirations into getting in any further into gaming? Especially seeing that, all the tools and stuff that are coming out to further make it easier for, hungry developers to get into it.
Yeah. Um, I've thought about this. If I were to get back into game, because I've had a road right where I worked for Ubisoft and did some of their stuff. Um, did some of their design, like menus and stuff in their games, little animations like here and there, and then worked some stuff for Microsoft and on Fable. Um, and I always felt like more of a cog in the wheel. Like I was this little person, which you are in AAA game development. You are this little person, and amongst a sea of people making sure that game gets to its deadline. So I was like, do I like this? Like, do I feel like I'm a part of, like, am I contributing? And sometimes I felt like I was, I was contributing, obviously, but like, I was like, man, I want more of an impact, I guess. So I liked smaller teams. I like smaller development teams because you can actually like talk with somebody. You are
You feel more involved.
yeah. I felt more involved with like smaller indie teams. So if I was to get back into game development, because now I'm just doing commercials for the most part. If I was to get back into game development, I would like to work with like a smaller team. I don't know about AAA development anymore. Um, and I would love to do like a Telltale type game, like something I normally wouldn't do.
Oh, you want to do something very story based.
Yes, because I love stories. So,
You want to
something,
give choices or something.
yeah, I like games like that.
Like anytime somebody says Telltale, I just immediately think of The Walking Dead and how treacherous that game was.
That game, I think that game almost made me cry. There's only like a few games that's ever got me that emotional. I can't think of any other game besides Walking Dead. I'm sure there's some other one I can't think
Man,
of.
when them fools were all sitting at the dinner table, yo,
Mm,
remember that joint right there? And
mm.
they was like, oh, we finally get to eat. And they had this big old meal and they were all happy. And then they figured out what they was eating.
Ooh.
Yo, that
Yeah.
that that part of that game had me like, I was mad uncomfortable during that part.
I always think about just the scene with Clementine. and the guy, and he's slowly dying and whatever, and you have a decision to make whether to kill him or leave him there or whatever. And that got me. It's been a while since I played that game, but man, I always remember, like, there's specific parts of Walking Dead that I was like, these are emotion hitting moments for me. It was like the end. It was like the beginning with the treehouse. I thought was cool. Like her parents, Clementine's parents, went away. It was like different moments in that game. I'm like, dang, this is well written.
Yeah, it was tragic.
First Telltale game, I think. I think that was my first one.
Okay.
But yeah, good.
All right. So then you go from, so I asked you if you were thinking about, getting back into it. You say much smaller team if possible, if you do decide
Yep.
to dive back into it. And where I wanted to go with that is I wanted to ask you if you think that's kind of the move now for a lot of people, because you're starting to even see like people that are, well known and, big time names say, you know what, I'm out. I'm out, but I'm not done. I'm gonna go make my own, studio or whatnot. We seen Mike Brown do it after he left. The team with Forza Playground, right?
Yeah, they started that. That smaller team. Yep.
Yep. Jerry Hook did it recently, or a few years back after he left 343. He started Jar Sparks.
Facts.
Yeah. There's a gentleman from Embracer that left. That was a big name there that decided to start his own studio. The guy that brought us Dead Space started up Ascended
Among Us.
Studios.
I mean, Among Us team was like really small.
And I mean, it just seems like that's like the vibe now from even your like big name people is just, hey, I want to work with a lot less people and have a lot less people telling me what I want to make.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of my mentality. Is just, it's not the fact that it's such a big team and what you're making is not impressive or cool or anything like that. Like, these people are very talented, and these big teams are like, wow, it is incredible. But there's just something about working with a smaller team where you feel like you have more of an impact, or you have less money, probably. Well, yes, you definitely have less money. You definitely have more more pressure, because if that game sucks, that's you. It's not the guy in the programming department who forgot to program the little kick animation or whatever. It is you. So there's a little bit more pressure, sure, but I kind of like the challenge. And a lot of teams are going that route. This is why during the whole FTC trial, well, I don't know people's views on it or whatever, but I will always have the stance that it's hard to have a monopoly in this industry when the next big game, like Power World or something, can come out of nowhere from like 5 people. It's just, it's like the next big game could blow up, and it doesn't have to be a huge studio
Right.
to necessarily do that. It's like there's so many different talented teams in the gaming industry, and it's ever changing. Like, you can have a big team like Call of Duty, that's going to make money for sure, but you could have a small team that's make a game and it blows up. You never really know. Um, like Among Us or we saw Power World, or some
Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors. So it's a competitive industry, and I love that. So
I mean, and that's so true, because like we seen what happened with Power Worlds when it came out and how much jealousy it brought within the industry from, high ranking studios, right? We
Yep.
got people out from Naughty Dog being like, I got some developer intuition about this one. Right
I saw that.
Something seems nefarious about this one right
Yeah.
here. And it's wild. Can you maybe extrapolate maybe a little bit on some of the hate or disrespect in the industry between
Mm,
like developer to developer, because it seems a little bit more evident than before, just because people are so much more willing to express themselves and they have a platform to do it on now that's very easy to express yourselves with everybody watching. And you got your squad of tens of thousands of followers that are just hitting like, and we
mhm.
either it's right or wrong, they're just there to support or whatnot. Can you talk about
Right.
that just a little bit if you can?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting conversation because I think I have this stance. I mean, I know I have this stance. If I am no better than an average gamer, like yes, I'm a developer. I have knowledge of how the gaming industry works or how the industry works or whatever, but I don't ever believe I'm on a high horse of of my opinions being fact and you have to follow my opinion or anything like that. I feel like a lot of developers do that and a lot of people in the industry do, like a Colin Moriarty or whatever. Like their opinion is better than everyone else's and you have to follow theirs, and it comes off as like this pompous thing where like they are somehow better than a gamer or whatever. So I'll start with that, right? Because
Okay.
I really do truly believe a lot of developers and people in the industry, like a Destin or whatever, um, because of their stance in industry or because of their audience, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's something they can definitely abuse. So I'll start with that, but I also with Power and some of these other games, I am starting to see a pattern like what you're saying with like developers sort of um basically attacking a game like Power Word just because of its success, or they think it shouldn't be successful, so it has to be nefarious, or something like that. That was a really weird case to me. I thought the game was impressive. It was, and why so many people were drawn to it is because AAA studios, who are working on like the Pokemon games. I forgot the developer's name. Refuse to innovate in any way. They stick to it like, oh, people are gonna buy it, it's Pokemon, and because they're a AAA developer, they go through a whole process of creating a game, and it has like barriers of what they can do and not do because of the brand recognition and things like that. So they have a certain way they make a game like Power World, but then you get someone, or not Power World, Pokemon. But then you get a developer like Power World who isn't stringent upon this huge brand, and they can just kind of make what they want. And of course, it has similarities to Pokemon. I don't. I think anyone who says it doesn't is like obviously it does.
Right.
Um, but it does some like cool things that I wish Pokemon attempted to do, and innovate and try different things. And I feel like the industry was really mad about that. There's been a couple cases of that. Like Power is the first one that comes to my mind, but it's been interesting seeing like developers
To me,
and
it's no different than like Nathan Drake and Laura Croft. Like they
yeah,
do a lot of similar things, but like one does things differently than the other. And one's a
yeah,
female, one's a male. One is very joking all the time, and the other one's pretty serious and like surprisingly badass every time you see her. Surprisingly
yeah.
more badass, I should say. Um,
Like,
yeah,
I like
I
Tomb
mean,
Raider.
I like that's what I kind of compare it to when I see people being like, "Oh, well, it's just copy and paste, and it's just a little bit different in some areas." I'm like, "So is this, So is a game like Uncharted in Tomb Raider." So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, games constantly are inspired by each other. Like you can't say realistically say Uncharted didn't copy off of either Tomb Raider, or you can even go further back, Indiana Jones, right?
right,
Like games are inspired by genres, and it's okay to be inspired by something else and try your take on it. I feel like that's how we progress as within our industry, within almost every other medium, within movies. Other directors learn off of each other, other games can learn off each other. I mean, Power World isn't really much like Pokemon. It has some Pokemon-ness in it to it, but it's more comparable to like an Arc or I don't know, like a Rust or something like that. Your base could die when you leave and stuff like that. So it has elements from like a lot of different games, and I feel like it has of a big fun factor to it because it just takes things from certain games, but kind of changes it in a certain way, and it makes it not as learn curvy. I don't know what the word is, but yeah,
It
pretty
is
cool.
very grindy.
It is grindy, which
It is
some people like.
extremely
Some people
grindy.
like.
Yeah, I actually like it. I have about 6 days in that game already.
Heck yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've been cooking on that game right now, but I'm enjoying it. I'm not trying to like level up super duper fast and stuff like that. I'm just trying to get a lot of my base built up, and like I have a metal area, stone and wood area, and then also a silver base as well. Like 3 different bases, so I'm just constantly collecting from those bases, and man,
Nice. I had
got
a bootleg house, and someone destroyed it, and I felt discouraged, and I haven't built. I haven't come back. I don't know what happened to my house. My house like burnt
you
down, or
probably got raided.
yeah, that's probably what happened. That's kind of messed up. That's messed up. But I'll come back. I'll come
Yeah,
back to
yeah. All right, so I've asked you a ton about like the video game, history and stuff like that, and also development and stuff like that as well. Now I'm want to kind of merge over to you getting into like content creating, being with
it.
Mav and stuff like that. I want to go back early on to like when you first started getting onto shows. What was the first
Mm.
show that you got onto, and what prompted you to actually do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my very first show was Booms. I was a Xbox Factor. Um, I just during COVID, it was like, what do you do, right?
Right.
Everyone just trying
Facts.
to figure out to do. No one could go outside. So during that whole pandemic, I was like, man, I'm just gonna look up like gaming stuff, like what's going on. So I first seen Xbox Two ran and Jez, and I'm like, wow, it's like a whole community. I seen people in the chat and everything. I'm like, this is cool. And I started watching like their previous shows. I'm like, it was like this its own world almost. And then I found, stumbled upon Boom Show. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. They're just talking about games and stuff. Like I love talking about games, but I don't have a lot of people who are passionate or as passionate about the gaming industry as me. That knows about the latest news that just dropped. Like, hey, this memory card just came out, and I'll be talking to like an empty room, right? Um, so I asked Boom one day. I was like, I had like one follower on Twitter. I just made a Twitter, so I was surprised he let me on. I was like, hey, I'm a game developer. I would love to be on this show. And he was like, sure. And I was like, what? I literally had like didn't even have a profile picture, I don't even think, on Twitter. And Boom let me on. I was like, oh wow.
Wow.
Okay. Um so I went on the show. We vibed and I became a member on Xbox Factor. And I did it for a while, almost like a year or something like that. Me and Mads Gaming, he invited me to a
That's
show,
a good dude.
and yeah, he's very knowledgeable and very technical and stuff like that. And so he wanted me on because he wanted to ask me about gaming engines and Unreal. It's just stuff I dabble in, and Mav was one of the guests on there. It was the first time I had a show with Mav. Was through Mads Gaming. Whenever we had a show there, me and him clicked. Basically chatted back and forth. And he was starting a show, and I guess we remembered this wrong because me and Mav always talk about this. Like I thought he asked me to be on this show, but I guess I asked him. I don't one of us asked each other to be on this show. And I was his first guest. He wanted to get into streaming, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So it was just me and like two other people. The first episode of Xbox Ultimate, and then I just been on this channel kind of ever since. I was like his first guest, and we did Xbox Ultimate, and then we started doing spin-off shows like Fun Pop and FSP and things like that. And yeah, he kind of became my comfort show because then because I was podcasting like almost every day, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was podcasting, and then when I started getting more into industry, started getting more game design jobs. Got a girlfriend who's now my fiance.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You look very happy, so congratulations for the show.
Yes. Yes, and I'm getting her to be a gamer too. So that, she's playing some games. I'm like slowly getting her in there. She's like a really into graphics. I'm like, wow. I'd be showing her older games. She's like, this looks bad. I'm like, what the heck? You play like one game, and now she's like a graphics snob. But yeah, so my time kind of dwindled a little bit, getting into the industry and having relationship. So now I'm only on like 2 shows, and I try to pop in different shows when I can. But yeah, man, I love this community. Everybody here, even in this chat, I've seen them, and on other shows, or it's like a small knit community, but everyone is like they vibe with each other, and it's cool. I feel like stuff like that. Like I know Joanna Dark. I know it's Tim Hay. I see him on either my show or just around. It's like a small community, but it's like I don't know. We all kind of know each other over time.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah. You can really tell who's passionate about it, who's always popping in and stuff like that. It's just pretty wild how much we really kind of rely on each other for this hobby. As much as we kind of work separately, we kind of like will hop in, peep, watch a little bit. We may not always be on every show, or like I may not be in the chat for every single thing, but like when I show up, it's just like I mean, it's just like what I told you before the show. It's just like cookout, right?
Yeah,
you show up, you're just like, hey, what up, y'all?
Like, hey, what's up? Like I'm at work, but hey, I want to drop by. It's cool, man. I love this community. It's like it's why I've been around for so long. Everybody in the chat, we have like inside jokes within different shows that sometimes transfers over. Like people always say, I blame 3BIT for for a game being delayed or something, because when I was working at Fable, that was like a thing. They're like, where's Fable? And they were blaming me that Fable's not out yet. It's like stuff like that is just so funny and interesting to me. And yeah, I love doing these shows.
What's a highlight moment that you've had since like getting into podcasting and stuff like that?
Oh man, highlight moment. I remember we had a show where there was so many people in our chat, and it was on the Mav show, and I actually cried on that show. I was just overwhelmed by the support we had, because these hackers who kept trying to shut down our podcast. They didn't want us to do shows, so they kept shutting down my internet. They kept shutting down Mav's internet. You guys could go back and try and find the show. It was very it was a lot of weird stuff going on, but there was people in the chat who was like pressing us to keep going, and they donated like hundreds of dollars and stuff like that, just like kind of supporting us, because they loved that we just talked about games and how we all just vibed, and me and Mav and Pong and Steel and Jasper, we're all like super close. Like we'll talk for hours in our DMs and stuff, just about gaming topics and ridiculous things. But yeah, I feel like that was a highlight because first off, I didn't think I would get that emotional like in a podcast and in gaming. I don't know. I didn't know. I guess I didn't know I cared that much until that show. I'm like, wow, this community is actually pretty dope. Um, so that was definitely a highlight moment where someone was trying to shut us down, and then our community was basically trying to build us up. So that was really cool.
No doubt, no doubt. That's what's up. All right, man. Well, now that you answered those questions, we talked about the history, how you got to get to where you currently are within, whether it is the gaming industry or just, doing your video editing in general for like commercials and stuff like that. Let's kind of talk about some of the current stuff that's going on, which I feel like this is a really crazy week, something that we wouldn't have anticipated at all. Just just a month ago, this is all kind of like seems like
He was like, oh,
yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess right
yeah.
now. It's flat out a mess. So as we have known, from this last weekend, there was a lot more rumors about the whole Xbox going third party, games coming out for other platforms, specifically PlayStation in mind. I want to know, first of all, what is your whole thought process on sharing games with other companies?
Wow. I think if a Xbox game, because I feel like it is there's a lot of different answers to this question. I feel like if a game goes to another platform, that doesn't necessarily affect me. If I'm playing on the Xbox and someone else gets to play my game, then that I don't really care. But what it does is the ripple effect that people are kind of talking about, of how that affects or could potentially affect people or Xbox in the future. What that means for hardware, what that means for basically the future of the system. Like if all the games are going on the PlayStation and that's the most popular base, that could mean they're prioritizing other systems that's not the Xbox. And then that could lead to decisions that if I was primarily playing on Xbox, that could affect me. So that's where a lot of this backlash is sort of coming from. I'm just in the camp where I feel like exclusives are very I feel like they are part of the industry. As much as we don't like it, I feel like it does bring people into the gaming space. Like if I want to play Mario game, I can't play that on the PlayStation or Xbox. I have to make sure I buy a Switch, play some Mario. I'm like, and then I'm invested into that ecosystem. I feel like Xbox, they started venturing out a little bit, which I feel like they felt like they had to do, being third place for so long, being in a market where Sony's kind of blocking them every step of the way. If you look at all these different documents where a game was about to come to the Xbox, Sony's like, nope. So
Right.
Xbox is feeling like they have to compete in another way, which I understand, but I still feel like exclusives are necessary. Um, Sony and Nintendo, they are kind of setting that rule, right, for the market, where they're like, you need exclusives to come into our ecosystem. And Microsoft, I feel like they're in a space where like, you don't need exclusives. So Microsoft always does this thing where they're very future thinking.
Right.
So sometimes to their detriment. Like they'll be the first
majority of the time to their detriment.
Majority of the time.
Gaming, at least.
In gaming, but even like stuff like the Windows Phone, right? They gave up on so many different projects because they're like, the market's not ready for it, whatever. And then someone else will eventually make it like years later.
Right.
Happens every single time. So with this, like, yeah, it makes sense to expand your ecosystem out to other platforms, etc. Is the market ready for it? I don't think they are. I mean, if you think about their benefits to Xbox One in 2013, those are pretty cool features, but a lot of people was not ready for it. They
No.
were like, no, no, always online, no. But we're pretty much always online for like majority of our devices now, or most stuff require online and stuff like that would not be a big deal if Xbox One was to release today, you know. Um, so I mean, if they do it again, I mean that's just a pattern Microsoft has to deal with. Their future thinking, and it might hurt them. We'll see what ends up what ends up happening. Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I think about it. I think that exclusives are still important because that's what the market dictates. If you want to get if you want to play Horizon or Last of Us, you have to buy a PlayStation. And can you also get a PC? PlayStation is starting to think that way. If you look at their documents, they're like, yeah, let's start putting our games out on PC. That is their future. They're sort of slowly introducing that idea.
They're kind of
So
doing the same thing, but much slower.
yeah, they're doing it at a slower pace because they're reading the market. They're just like, well, our games aren't making enough. Let's start expanding, but let's do it slowly so people still are in our ecosystem. So
Yeah, exactly. Because the consoles are still killing it. So they just need to find the right audience and the right games
yep,
to continue that flow kind of going. Not that the games are bad by any means. It's just like if people aren't buying them, then something ain't right. Uh,
yeah,
but I don't want to beat the heck out of that subject because I feel like that's just like any other channel right now. A lot of people are just beating this like to death, kind of. So I'm just gonna kind of cut to the chase and ask you, like, what do you think is like true or false within all
Mm,
of this like jargon going on?
man. So I've
You
been
don't have to go
putting out
through everything. Just
yeah.
what you think is good, or what do you
I,
think you'd rock with?
I here's the thing. I've been putting out like hints on my Twitter of like what I think is like engagement. A lot of people are spreading rumors, things that aren't true. Um just to be like, oh look, I know this thing, I heard this thing, and I feel like that's been happening for since like December. I feel like is a hint of it true? Yes. I do believe maybe they considered CFDs, but the way the rumors happen, right? Um, Sea of Thieves, for example, that was spread by Jeff Grubb. He said that Sea of Thieves was considered to come to PlayStation. What people like skip over was that rumor was is 3 years old. They considered that like 3 years ago, and he re-brought it up because of Hi-Fi Rush. So people start pairing like confirmed Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush are coming, confirmed to PlayStation, right? Then that turned into a snowball of Gears of War, Halo, all these other video games. Um, and it all just started from even like Nate the Hate. Like if his original thing was a Game of the Year contender is coming from Xbox is coming to the PlayStation, and people ran with that like, oh, that means it's confirmed to be Hi-Fi Rush. But he never said Hi-Fi Rush. He just said it was a Game of the Year contender. So the way people spread these rumors, um, I feel like is the disingenuous part. Like is there possibly some truth to Hi-Fi Rush coming? Yes, I believe that that could be true. But all these other games, I feel like people are just engagement farming. I feel like they seen that like one game or two games are coming, and then they're using those rumors to pump it up to even more. That's what I genuinely believe. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. Um, but people are like treating these rumors as like this is a fact. This is happening. I'm leaving the platform. I'm selling my Xbox. Uh, and that's what I don't necessarily agree with, and I feel like the spin on some of these content creators, um, they they are lying to a lot of people, and that there's no other way around it. That's what I generally feel. I feel like a lot of these people out here who are saying like, "Oh, I know this game is coming." I feel like they heard maybe one game or two games, and they're expanding on that quite a bit. But that's what I believe.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of move away from that topic a little. Or I mean, it still has to do with that topic a little bit, but it's not
Yeah.
exactly just Xbox. I'm gonna ask you now, like, with you have worked in the industry before, currently and previously, right? I
Mhm.
want to like see what you think when it comes to like gaming crash, possibly at all,
Mm.
and how much like thought you would put into something like that today, because I've I've heard some people talk about it a little bit. I've thought about it a little bit, just thinking, you know, all these layoffs that are happening all over the place. Um, directions being moved all around, and PlayStation's doing stuff this generation that you would have never thought they'd do. Xbox seems like they want to completely pivot somehow, some way. We just don't know what that actually means. Nintendo has a new console kind of coming out. If anybody's fine, I'd say Nintendo, and the platform that is like Steam is cooking. They're doing their thing right now. They ain't got no problems. But
Yeah.
in the whole idea of development, games costing crazy amounts of money to make, and people from before, like what's that guy's name, Sean Layden, saying, yo, we can't keep doing this, and then he leaves, or he gets out, he gets put out or whatnot. What do you kind of think about the possibility of gaming kind of being on the verge of just like a whole ass transformation?
Mm. That's a good question. I feel like there are definitely higher budgets to games where it doesn't, some of the games don't, I feel like it doesn't justify the cost almost. Like Spider-Man 2, for example, is an example I use. Costs like $300 million to make that game. Um, and a lot of it was licensing fees, right? So if you're making a game for a Disney or something like that, your cost is going to increase. But for a game like Spider-Man 2, where you have some set of animation systems already, you're not building it from scratch. You have a base to build from, and it still costs like 10 times more than like the first one. It's an interesting conversation, like what needs to give in the gaming industry, like how do we stop these costs from getting super big? And I don't know the answer to that yet, because I mean, you have a game like GTA 6, and I think it costs 2 billion to make.
What?
So it's like
You're
1 billion,
joking.
2 billion. No, you can look it up. Like it's rumors, but I'm pretty, I believe it. Costs like 2 billion. One of the most expensive games to make is this new GTA that's coming out. So I don't think budgets are dropping anytime soon. And layoffs, unfortunately, it's going across the entire industry right now. It's really affecting the tech sector quite a bit,
How do you,
sadly.
I
Where
hate to cut you off, but how do you feel that, like, how do you think engines have to do with this situation?
mm, like optimization, or what do you mean? Like,
Optimization, also ease of use in creating something new. I mean, because I find it weird that you'll see an indie developer showcase something and it looks like AAA,
Yeah.
right? And then you hear about a AAA game that costed a crazy amount of money, and it seems like the indie people are kind of catching them a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, yo, you had hundreds of people working on this game, and old boy back here in a garage with his boys from the bar made this
Yeah.
game, and y'all are getting cooked. Like,
Yeah, that definitely does happen. I feel like indie developers are finally getting technology that are matching up to these AAA. Because I remember it wasn't engines weren't as so accessible like 10 plus years ago, like to an average person that just like if I wanted to start game development, like a lot of companies in the past used to be like, no, you have to work for us to use this engine. Now there's Unity engine, there's Unreal Engine. Um, there's still a lot of engines used in house, like a lot of the stuff we use for Ubisoft and stuff like on Star Wars. That's like their in-house tech. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I feel like it's a mixture of things. I think a lot of uh because you're a AAA studio, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of uh cooks in the kitchen. So there's a lot of opinions on how to do a game. You have your director for sure, but when you have like a lot of people working on the same game, one person's working on a whole section, you have a bigger budget, you're more likely to scrap whole sections of the game if it's not working, which means it's not as focused. When you have like a smaller team, I feel like you like everyone, we're on the same page. We're making this we're making this game. When you get like a bigger team and stuff like that, it's one of the reasons why I when I was talking about like the cog in the wheel. When you have like a bigger team, I feel like some problems can lead to having a bigger team, making sure it's more organized. Because when you have like 1,000 employees and they all have a different job to do working on the same game, it can get messy. It can get pretty messy sometimes. So, um, yeah, it's a good question. It could be a lot of different things. That's just the first thing I kind of thought about. I know during COVID, we were working on a couple Ubisoft titles, and we had to do like mocap in our closet, just like different stuff like that. Where some people working hybrid, some people working in office, and some managers are figuring out like the branch of how those two exist. um that I feel like that's why you always see a disparity. You see this indie developer make this game that looks better than a AAA studio, and then a AAA studio where you're like $300 million, where it looks like okay, it looks pretty good, but if I had
right.
shoot.
That confuses me, dude. I'm like, oh, like, and that kind of leads on to my next question. It's just like, how is it, in your opinion? Because clearly, this is all this is your opinion.
Yeah.
In your opinion, why is it so much more expensive
Hmm.
for them to make games nowadays when technology is like catching up so much, and you're starting, I mean, and just like we said, we're starting to see smaller studios do big things, but like it seems like that cost is still like increasing exponentially, although they have all these new resources that it seems like at the beginning of this generation, people were hyping up saying, oh, this is going to make it much easier. And, we have AI right around the corner as well. That's been making things
Big.
easier for people as well. So is it that they're forcing it to be more expensive, or is it that it just costs so much to employ people? But at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking like some of these teams are like thousands of people
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. I feel like it's bloated. A lot of the cost is bloated, if I were to be honest. Like there's no way you have a game like Spider-Man 2. I keep using that as an example because it's just so crazy to me how that game is 300 million after having a basis for what to do in the first game, or have the systems of like the web swinging. You don't have to reprogram a lot if the base is in there. You can build off of it and things like that. And it was like way more than the first one. But that just leads me to believe, like, yes, a lot of it, the the cost for games goes into licensing. I feel like that's a big part of the a lot of games. If you are a AAA studio, a ton of money does go into the marketing, right? Like probably 10, 20 million alone. If you're a big studio, like, hey, pour that much into marketing the game. Whether it's commercials or it's called OOH, or out of home. So that basically means any commercial that is seen on a billboard or newspaper, anything that's not on a traditional like screen. You'll just see it out like on the subway or something like that. They'll do campaigns for that. You'll have, like, let's say IGN wants to do a first thing. They'll just pour money into to marketing as well. So I feel like those two, licensing and marketing, can very much bloat the cost of a game. Indie developer's not going to spend 10 million on marketing. They would be like send it to some people like, hey, can you play this game and review it, or I feel like that's some of the reasons. But I feel like a lot of it is bloated, to me, to be honest. Like, you have 1,000 developers working on a game, um and you don't have pressure, right? Here's one controversial topic, right? The
Okay.
crunch. um a lot of people don't believe in crunch, um but pressure is really good to have, especially on studios. I may be in a boat, on an island, believing that, but if you really think about it, almost every other industry, especially entertainment, has crunch, but it's sort of demonized in the gaming industry, like, just because, like, yeah, it could be bad. It's part of the gaming culture, whatever. But having pressure, to finish a game or finish a part of a game, I feel like is a good thing, because when you have too much time, what leads to, um like Halo 2 is a great example. They ran out they were running out of time, so they had to finish a lot of stuff. So they actually came up with different mechanics, because they had shorter amounts of time. um and when you have a lot of time, you you tend to, like, kind of lax a little bit. Like, you don't create the systems as fast. You, like, oh, I have time to build out this level. I guess I'll put a tree there. It's like you that mentality actually ripples, I feel like, throughout studios. And when we have this sort of newer culture of no more crunch, that leads to games having lengthier development cycles, and that also increases the costs. So it's out of all the stuff I talked about, the marketing, whatever, that culture now where it's starting to shift, where, like, no more crunch. That also, I feel like, is a part of it. um I'm in the camp where I think crunch can be good. I've seen too many times where, um someone will be in the mode, or the zone, and, like, gain crunch, like, okay, and snaps out of it. I really do think about, like, how Microsoft is handling these two studios too. um for example, you have, um the Redfall situation.
Right. Tragic.
Tragic. Right, where Microsoft was pretty hands off. Like, like, people would praise Microsoft, like, wow, you're letting these studios do their thing, which was a result of Lionhead Studios. If you guys watch the Xbox documentary,
Right.
it kind of goes into, they were really hands on with that studio. They let Lionhead do whatever. Or no, they didn't let them do anything. They had to create Connect games. They had to, like, you are going to create our Connect games. You're going to make Fable exactly like this. And that pretty much killed the studio. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't have their own DNA. So what Microsoft learned from that is like, let's be more hands-on with the studios we purchased. Like we bought them for a reason. We bought them for their DNA. And let's let them breathe, right? So that's their philosophy. But then when you're too hands off, you get a Redfall situation. So there
Right.
has to be a balance of you putting pressure on the studio, like this game needs to come out. But you can't be too lax because you get Redfall and then like Everwild, for example. Like, what is happening with that game? We don't know because you just let them like, you're rare. You know what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter. These people are human. You don't put pressure on people. They're not going to receive. So I might be on an island with that thought, but just from my experience, every time I've personally been under pressure, that's been some of my best work, as opposed to
No. I completely get it. I mean, look at what happened. I mean, you can use this in sports and stuff like that all the time. It's just like, remember Tom Brady going versus the Falcons? That tragic Super
Mhm.
Bowl for the Falcons, where
Yeah.
they got where they're up 28-0, and you
Mhm.
put Tom Brady in a panic situation. What
Yep.
happened? You brought the GOAT out.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
brought the GOAT out, and he is like, yo, I can't go out like this.
Nah. Like, nah, you guys had enough points. You good? All right. Well, now watch this. So
Right. So
clutch is a
yeah,
thing.
I get that. If you want something explosive, sometimes you gotta, put a deadline on it, pressure bust pipes,
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like it's a lot of it is psychological, right? It's like if we feel like we have time, that means we aren't pressured to do things as fast, as efficient. But if we are under pressure, like, shoot, I only got like a few hours to do this thing, or like the perfect example that you just put was Tom Brady. Like, you guys, how much time I got left? Okay, I'm gonna catch up. Why? It's
that
like a
that that mental focus just like goes rampant when you
yeah,
feel like your back is up against the wall. It's just like, all right, like somebody come, hey,
something.
hey, hey, you need get the fuck away from me. like I am in my zone right now. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like no kids, no wife, no friends, phones off. Y'all can't bother me. I am locked in this room until I get this shit figured out. That's
Yep.
the kind of pressure.
Heck yeah, yeah, and I work really good under pressure, so that might be just a lot of my views on it, or where it comes from. But hey, I mean I see it in so many different things, so it's not like
I'm
it's
very similar into that. To I wouldn't say under pressure, but I work well under uncomfortable circumstances. So when other
yeah.
people are freaking out, I'm usually the one that's not freaking out.
That's a good quality, man. That's
It
a good
is,
quality, yeah, yeah.
especially with my wife. I'm telling you, dog. Because she be tripping sometimes, and I have to,
Yep, yep.
I have to zip up, fix the tie a little bit, and,
Right.
get
Patience.
my corporate tog on, but
See, look, it
anyways,
works
let's go on
outside
ahead
of
and
gaming, right?
well, facts. All right, so yeah, let's go on ahead and hit these quick hitter questions and get up out of here. One thing I'm gonna try to do this year, something I want to stress a little bit more is time. I've been letting some of these behind them sticks episodes go till like 3 hours, and I just
Yeah,
don't
that's
like
fine.
doing that to the
Good convo.
guests. I don't like doing that to the people out here trying to watch and just trying to, get some information about some of their favorite
Mm,
creators and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start cutting it off around around an hour and 45. So we got about 15 minutes left before we get up out of here. And I'm gonna ask you my favorite quick hitter questions that I usually ask everybody. I might put a spicy twist on it depending on how I'm feeling, or if I get bored with one of the questions or something like that.
yeah,
But if you don't mind, I'm gonna go on ahead and get it popping.
yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. All right, so I want to know from you, 3-bit, what is a gaming genre for you that you're just like, you can miss me with that shit?
The gaming genre that I don't mess with. Oh, I mean, man, I'm willing to try all genres, but if I'm being honest, right? Like, what do I am I least likely to play? If I'm like looking on Game Pass, whatever, I'm just like, it's usually like strategy and stuff like that. But there are examples of strategy games where I'm like, I really click with and vibe with. But I'm talking about like the top down, you control your people, you build stuff. It's just like those are the games
Like
I
RTS?
yeah. Those are the games I have to have like a friend tell me about it, or I really have to like look at reviews or kind of be proven like or spend time with it as opposed to like a first person shooter where it's like, okay, let's go. I know this is like a prove more of a prove mentality for those type of games, but I really do try to open my mind to play everything because I feel like I could learn from just playing different stuff or even watching movies. Like I love watching bad movies, for example, because I feel like I can learn a lot from bad movies. I can learn a lot from good movies. But yeah,
Sure, yeah.
if I'm being
Because they
honest,
still try stuff. I mean, there's a reason that the movie's bad, sure, but there's also a reason why it made it on a screen.
yeah, yeah. And there may be something you can learn from a bad movie. I mean, that's stuff I study as an editor. Like what did I like? What was terrible? What can I do better if I were to do this movie? So I look at things a little bit differently, but with games, yeah, I mean that's the one genre I question just a little bit before I can't just naturally jump into it. I have to like kind of reach inside myself to play those type of games.
No doubt. All right, my next question, and I actually just randomly thought of this one because I thought it was fun. But
Mhm.
what random game throughout your I'm gonna say recent history, all right, that
Okay.
you felt like this game is dumb as hell. I don't never want to play it. Nah, ain't no way you can get me to play it. And then you play it and you felt like a dumbass. Where you're just like, yo, this is hot. This is actually hot. What was I
Oh
thinking?
man. Oh yeah, I'm sure I have one.
I've had that happen way too many times where I was telling everybody, this game is stupid. I ain't never gonna try this joint and whatnot. And then I hop up in it like Death Stranding. That happened with me. I was
mm,
because I played a couple hours of Death Stranding and I was just like, dude, I cannot do this. I was in party chats with people and whatnot all the time. And then I sat down and played the game with nobody around and whatnot and just listened to what was going on and everything. And I was like, man, I never really gave this game a try. Man, I was always hating on it because I was always so
okay.
busy doing other stuff and whatnot. I was trying to do too many things, and the game needs more attention than just like half-ass attention. You got to really pay attention if you want to enjoy it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's two games that come to mind. First one is Mass Effect. For some
Oh
reason,
wow.
I was like, what is this game? I don't know what this game. I was like, what was I 13, 14 or something when that game came out? I was like, I don't know about this game. And people
Looked
were like,
really
"You gotta
stiff,
try it."
right?
Yeah, it looks stiff. I didn't like the way he walked and just dumb stuff like that. And then I rented it from Blockbuster, I think, one time. I was like, all right,
Yo,
I'll try this game out. I was obsessed. Like almost it was amazing how quick that mindset changed. Like I started playing it, got into the store, I was like, whoa, you could change like the dialogue option, like, whoa, I could talk to my crew. I'm like, dang, this is all right. This is pretty cool. So Mass
deep.
Effect was one of those. And then the second one, I can't believe I'm like almost ashamed that I thought this with like
Oh shit.
Metal Gear. Because now
Metal
that
Gear.
I thought that with Metal Gear. I don't know why. Um, I was like, what was this? This is Metal Gear One. It was PlayStation One. Um, my dad showed me like Metal Gear. I was like, he's good. He's kind of because he has some robot type tights on. What is this? I don't understand it. Again, immediately switch once I get like the exclamation point. You hide underneath the tank. You guys remember Metal Gear One? The ice it was like the snowy mission. You go in the elevator and stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Amazing.
first mission.
Yeah, that first mission, woo, amazing. And eventually, I played, and he like reads your memory card of what other games you played and
Yeah, the
stuff.
Psycho Manus.
And bro, I was ashamed. Those 2 games I was ashamed because I'm like, why? And that's why I try to like open myself up to different genres, different games, because you never know what can surprise you. And I try to take that mentality with almost everything. Bad, good movie, doesn't matter. Entertaining to me. I'll watch either one or play different genres.
Well, that's perfect. That actually leads me right into my next question, which is whether it is new or an old game. I want you to tell me the best 3 games that you've played within the last year.
Oh shoot. Best 3 games I played within the last. Man, that's hard. Okay. Best 3 games. Halo always has to be on my list somewhere. I'm always playing Halo. It's a game I always return to.
Damn, man, this
But if I
man
I
is
got it.
young playing Halo and he still ain't
I love
stopped.
it. I still haven't stopped. It's been since I was a kid. I keep this is a game I constantly return to. So, but I'm gonna pick a specific one to fit this list. I'll say Halo 2. That's something I played this year. The Arbiter, that story, it's my favorite Halo story till this day still. This game, it just came to my mind just now as you asked me that question. Knockout City. It was just like a dodgeball game. It's the servers are off now. I played it a little bit. I guess it wasn't this year. All right, I'll take that one off, but that's definitely a contender. Just because you're saying this year, or technically this year, right?
Yeah, just something that you played within the last 365.
All right. So I'll put Knockout City in there, Halo 2 in there, and then my last one, Starfield. I know people don't like it. I loved it.
I love that game.
Starfield, man. Like, it's a Bethesda game. I feel like a lot of people wanted that game to be something else. I'm like, I love Bethesda games, and that was a Bethesda game through and through. And yeah, man, it did everything I kind of wanted it to do. So I was really happy with Starfield and all the stuff they did.
I'm not a huge Bethesda fan. I'll play their games, but I'm not a huge Bethesda fan. But Starfield was my favorite Bethesda game made.
Wow, something about it clicked with you more than like
it's the sci-fi thing. I've never been huge in the whole like medieval stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like that never like I played a few days worth of Skyrim, which isn't a lot. Like if I'm being real, that's not a lot.
I put hours in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I put a couple days into Skyrim, and I had a good time with that game. And you know, doing the shouts, all the different weapons that you can get, healing yourself while throwing fire, and you know all the other like the game was dope, but it's just not my setting, right? It's just not my setting.
So setting is like a big thing for you. So like
setting and traversal are 2 huge things for me.
Okay. So is it just about immersion for you? Like why do you think that is? Like why do you click with like sci-fi as opposed to like fantasy more?
Because it's futuristic, so usually there comes with like tools and like cool like transportation and different ways to
there's no jetpack
and like I'm not in a horse phase where I have to be riding a horse. Like I get like either some cool car or a jetpack or a ship or something like that. So it's just like that futuristic kind of setting where it just kind of feels fast paced. It feels
you're not really limited to
something that I haven't seen before, you know, or I can't really relate with it as well. I like those kind of things. I've always been like, I'm not huge into it. Like I don't know the ins and outs about it, but I've always been a Star Trek fan. As a matter of fact, my Starfield character is Khan.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, I actually made the USS 1864 Reliant from Star Trek 2,
Heck yeah.
the Wrath of Khan and whatnot.
Mhm.
I did the whole RPG story just like I was him, so I was an asshole, and I pretended to befriend some people so I could screw them over later. All
No.
those kind of things, right? So I really got into it, and like I said, I'm already into sci-fi and I'm into Star Trek, and then I get my own ship, and then you tell me to create a ship. Well, I'm making an enterprise all day.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
I like how
That's
you can jump
why
into
Starfield
characters.
ended up being my favorite Bethesda game, is because I really felt like it hit home with a lot of the things I grew up to love.
Yeah. Did you like Cyberpunk? I was good.
Cyberpunk was
I just
pretty
thought
hot
about
too.
that game. Okay.
I've only beat that game one time, and I haven't done the DLC, which I hear is super hot and whatnot. But I only beat it one time. I beat it on Corpo, which I think is the most generic one I could have probably picked.
I think that's what I picked. I picked that too.
Right. I wish I would have picked what was it, like the Street Kid, or what a Nomad.
There was
Nomad
a
is what I
Nomad
wish I would
and
have picked. And I actually have a playthrough going right now with the Nomad, but there's been so many games lately that I haven't got back to
yeah,
Cyberpunk
it's
since
ridiculous.
I
So
beat it.
many games it.
Right. Like I haven't even got to mess with the whole new UI and level up and all that stuff. Like I probably have to redo all my points right now.
Yeah, I got. It's so weird jumping back into a game, like Witcher. I probably restarted Witcher so many times just because I forgot the controls. So when I jumped back into like Cyberpunk, I was like, "What the heck? What is this?" And they changed a lot. So they changed the inventory. Like, yeah, they changed quite a bit. I only played the intro, so it's about an hour or two of the DLC.
Well, I was gonna say of the whole game, damn.
No, I beat the game, but like DLC, I think I played like an hour or so. I don't think I've seen Idris Elba yet. I don't
Oh,
know
so
when he
you
pops
got a
in.
bit to go.
Yeah, yeah, but it was pretty cool. The short bits I played, I was like, yeah, I vibe with this game for sure. This is too many
Okay,
games, like you said.
so go on ahead and repeat to me, what were the 3 games?
So Halo 2,
Mhm.
Knockout City, and Starfield.
And
But I kind of
Starfield,
want to
that's
add.
right.
I, I'm thinking about replacing Knockout with Cyberpunk because I said, dang, that game was. But I didn't beat it last year, so I'll leave it how it is. I like my
Alright. Alright, cool. So now this is one of my favorite questions right here. What is your favorite studio of all gaming? Not just alive studios, they can be dead ones too. So you could say like Midway if you wanted to, or
Mm,
whatever. So so what's your favorite studio and what game best represents that studio?
dang, that's a great question. Um, I want to say BioWare and the old BioWare. So this new one is like unrecognizable and probably let me make sure. Knights of the Old Republic. Um,
Okay,
let me just
KOTOR.
make sure because I'm pretty sure they made that, but now I'm like,
Yeah, they did. They did.
yes, okay,
They made the first one, and I believe Obsidian did the second one.
yeah, or they at least helped with it. Um,
I
no,
know BioWare helped Obsidian get up to speed with
for
KOTOR,
the
so
you're talking
they
about
could
KOTOR
develop
2.
it.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know, but BioWare for sure. Just because like back then, I feel like their DNA, and that's something I talk about a lot of my shows is like the DNA of studios and what that means. I feel like back then, BioWare they had really good writers. They had teams that really knew about their genres and stuff. I feel like that's punished nowadays. Like if you are anything besides a certain genre, I feel like the media can really punish you. Your game has to be on point if it's in another genre. But I feel like BioWare really knew like who they were as a studio, and they just killed it, man. Back in the day, I was closer to choosing Bungie, just because I have such a strong history with like Halo and stuff like that. But just BioWare was so good back in the day. They are not the same studio now, but Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare for sure. If I had to do a runner up, probably the old Bungie. And the way they handled amazing Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, ODST, all those are amazing games.
Yeah, all that crunching that they did.
Yep. Did quite a bit of crunch with those games.
They're notorious for crunching during those Halo times for sure.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so then, like I said, we're reaching pretty much the end of the show, but I do have a few more questions left. So
Yeah,
let's go ahead and knock those out. What games are you most excited for from now on to the unknown future? So those can be games that are at the minimum at least announced.
I'm excited for Blade. I have seen some of it. So I'm excited for it. So I'll say that. Without saying anything more.
Sure.
Before I get some snipers. And so I'm excited for Blade. I'm excited for Indiana Jones. Those are like 2 games I'm really, really looking forward to. I was looking forward to Factions. That's gone. So that
you didn't have to bring that up. You did that.
I know. It just came to my mind. But I was really looking forward to that. But I guess they are working on part 3 for Last of Us. So those are the top 3. I would say. I would say Indiana Jones, Blade, and Last of Us 3 if that's what they're if they're starting it. Yeah. What about you? I'm actually curious. What games you're looking forward to in the future? What top 3?
Okay, Arc 2.
Oh shoot, I forgot about Arc 2. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game because I really got into the original Arc, and I kind of got into Ascended, but Ascended's just Arc 1 redone in Unreal Engine 5.
That's like soon.
It's supposed to be, but I never trust Wildcard.
Yeah.
I never trust Wildcard when it comes to time.
Right.
So yeah, just the remake of Arc 1 was supposed to come out in August. We didn't see it until October, and they didn't even say anything all the way up until like it was like July 31st at like midnight. Like, they waited till like the last moment
possible moment
to say, hey, we're not doing that, by the way. Check back up with us in a couple months. And I was just like, there goes Wildcard doing Wildcard.
Yep.
But
they are a wild card.
yeah, exactly, right. Then what they do is in their name, right? They are 100% wild cards.
Sure.
But there's that game that I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to Blade as well, just as you just got done describing. And something random that I'm kind of like interested in, just because I don't really know a whole lot what they're gonna do with it, like in the sense of new, is Perfect Dark.
Yeah,
actually. And it's just because I don't know, like I think of Perfect Dark, I think of laptop gun. The little like stationary turret gun that you used to be able to have in that game that I thought was super dope. And I used to always be able to flank people into that.
That might have been the first 360 game I played online, I think. If I'm not remembering correctly. The Perfect Dark Zero I'm talking about. Not
Perfect Dark Zero, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the new one just to see what they kind of got cooking with that. And, Untested Studio as well. So really just trying to see, I mean, other than Crystal Dynamics that's helping them out, but the initiative, I'm just interested in seeing them actually come out with a game and see what that's all about.
Yeah. It looked good.
We'll have to wait and see. Just have to wait and see.
We'll see.
But off to the next question, which is actually interesting because we're talking about old IPs right now. But I'm going to ask you about dead IPs. Okay. I want you to pick 2 dead IPs to be remade. What would they be?
Jade Empire.
Okay. Jade Empire.
I would love to get remade and
more BioWare.
Yeah, more BioWare, right? Man, another dead IP. Oh man, that's a great question. A dead IP. I forgot what it's called. It's 22 night, 21 nights, something. Let me look this up. It's like some game that it's like called something nights. Maybe someone in the chat can help me out. But it was like this cool sort of a game on the 360. I believe it was by Silicon Knights.
Oh, the same ones that did Eternal Darkness.
Yeah. I believe they did a game. Maybe I'm just thinking about like Too Human. I'll just say Too Human. That would be a cool franchise because that game was in development for like 10. It was in development for a long time. Back from Des said, what NDAs did I break? I didn't break any. I talked about some games that aren't out. I didn't break any NDAs. Yeah, Too Human would be cool. It has a long history. They worked on that game for so long. I feel like there's a lot of material there. So I would bring back Jade Empire and Too Human. But
they also said 99 nights.
99 nights. That's probably what I was thinking about. Yeah, but I changed my answer. But yes, that would be a great game.
All right, so those are 2 games I haven't heard be said before. And since you said a BioWare game, and I know you just got done talking about how, BioWare is different than who they used to be. Sure. I mean, you can say that probably about any studio now, right? Bungie. Say Bungie is different than they were before. Yada, yada, yada. But I got to ask you, I mean, I'm sure you've seen, especially since you do podcasting regularly. I'm sure that you've seen that Mass Effect is cooking, but it's cooking for a few more years yet. Like it ain't coming out anytime soon. Yeah. How confident are you for that IP?
You know what? I'm more confident because EA lately been doing some pretty good stuff. Like I know
I'm gonna put you in a corner real quick. Are you more confident? Are you more confident in the Mass Effect, in Mass Effect being brought back by this new BioWare, or are you more confident in Playground making Fable? Which one would you be more confident in?
I mean, I have to say Playground, right?
Oh,
just because I've seen it, those teams know what the heck they're doing. And like from me working with those teams and seeing their vision for that game without spoiling anything or saying anything, they're doing something special for sure for Playground. So that's all I'll say for Playground. But
you said Playground is cooking.
They are cooking. I'm way more confident in them than BioWare or EA in BioWare. So I will say that, but just as a Mass Effect fan, I really hope, because they're taking so much time with the game, that they just get it right. I mean, they got the money, so I hope they put that money to good use and they hire the right people, and that's all you can hope for. EA, I know people like to hate on EA. Me too.
Yeah,
me too. Including that. Yeah, me too. Right.
Yeah, I'm a big football. I've always loved football, so I've been hating.
Yeah, they just been like giving you the same Madden for I don't know how long, bro. That competition is good. That they need and a 2K, I guess, what they did back in the day. ESPN.
Oh yeah, when 2K5 cooked them.
That was they need that again.
For $20, they cooked them.
Yep. They need that competition again, man. I will always. That's such an interesting thing to me. Like football and Madden, they need some competition. It's so annoying to me because they're just gonna make the same game over and over. That's another thing. But
Yeah, that's a
no,
conversation for another day.
yeah, I was another guy. I could talk about that for so long. But no, I think I'm confident somewhat in Madden or EA. They've been over the years, they've been doing some stuff that are like, okay, you guys, you're doing some good stuff. It's mostly Respawn I'm thinking of when I think about like EA.
Right.
Uh,
They've been putting in some work.
yeah. So if they could do that, what they did with Respawn to other teams like Bioware, then I'm like, okay, you guys might might do something there. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't think we've seen a Bioware game in quite some time, right?
All I gotta say, I mean, you said Respawn. All I gotta say real quick is quit playing with our heart with Titanfall. Y'all at Respawn need to quit messing with us
I agree.
about Titanfall. It feels like once a year they come out, give us a little bit of hope just to take a
Preach
shit
it.
on it. Just
Yep.
to, I mean, remember right before the Game Awards? Like people
Yep.
were all excited, and then they got some Apex mixed with Final Fantasy, and everybody was
Mm.
like, man, you could have advertised that on Twitter. Ain't nobody trying to see that shit.
Yeah, it's messed up. But they keep playing with my heart on Titanfall. I feel the same exact way. I hope I mean they keep doing games in the Titanfall universe. So like I mean there's some hope there that it'll come back. What's up, Yobi? Yeah.
Good to
We'll
see
we'll
you,
see.
brother.
Titanfall 2 was amazing.
Yes, it was that story. That
Mm.
story was so good. I
I
want another story like that. Like you got connected with your Titan, like real connected with it, and it
That's
was
how you do
crazy
it.
because you were like supposedly like not even that Titan's guy, right? You were
Yeah.
a replacement person to run that Titan, and then you end up getting a
Mhm.
relationship with him. And the way
Yeah.
that story ends is it's it's
Fire, man.
very cinematic, like a movie kind of feeling
Yeah.
that it gives you.
No one
And then
expected
running on
that.
the walls with that gun that like shoots people without you having to aim at them. Yo, that felt like the end of like a DC movie.
Yeah.
A
When
hot
I was
DC
playing that
movie.
game, I forgot anything that was around me. I don't know. I was zoned in, like I could not stop playing it. And I'm a mission where you're like, you're in the sky and he's like, you get to like throw, bro. That was one of my favorite missions. But
Yeah, you throw
that was,
yourself.
yeah,
Oh,
throw, sick.
I remember
Like,
he got up on that ship and he busted the glass out and grabbed you and threw him
yep.
inside. I was like, this shit is
No
wild.
one expected that, by the way. Like, no one was going into Titanfall 2 like, all right, let me play this for the fire campaign. Like, no one was saying that. It just
No, it was
happened to
just for the
be.
multiplayer. Everybody bought it for the
Yeah,
multiplayer because the last multiplayer was hot.
yeah, yeah. And then people was like, let me try out this story. And dang, that they killed it. That's why I'm giving EA a little bit more props lately. Like while they be monetizing the heck out of Madden and they do some crappy stuff, they still got some studios. They got some talent. So I'm
And they got
hoping
rid
that
of Yo
talent.
Knockout City too, right?
Yeah, they did. They did. Shoot.
I'm bringing up bad memories. Oh shit, my bad.
Oh, shoot. Uh, almost forgot about it. And fresh,
He's like,
fresh.
oh man, I'm starting to like him. Oh shit, yeah, they did.
Oh man, knockout scene.
All right, all right, all right.
It's true. No, it's true. It's true. EA, they're up and down. So we'll see.
So now we're at our last two questions of the show. And and I usually like to smush this into one question pretty much. I always ask people, and I'm asking you right now, straight up, what frustrates you in gaming, and then also what is a dream come true to you in
Mm.
gaming? And you can be selfish on the second one, but on the first one, I want you to be very specific on how you feel like gaming, like just something that just eats at you about it.
Mm, that's a good question. Um, there's a couple of things. It For what frustrates me in gaming is the finish it later mentality that a lot of studios are starting to do, where they give you a game and they're like, we'll fix this later, you know, instead of having a finished product when the game comes out, and testing it, and giving you half a game. Like, I was in the Delaylo crowd of Delay Halo. As soon as I heard that it wasn't gonna have certain features and stuff, like, when I open this game, I want a full experience. I want to be able to do whatever the vision and that you intended for a game. So that irks the heck out of me when people are they give excuses like, because it's live service, we could finish this game. Like, it should be feature complete when I open it, and
Right.
then you can add other stuff.
Yeah,
And
because you're asking me to pay full price, right?
yeah,
So why do I have to pay full price, but you give me part of the game?
exactly. And I feel like a lot of people became more accepting of that, of like, it's okay, they'll fix it later. I'm like, nah. When I open it, I want I want the full kind of experience. So that definitely irks me. People kind of not enjoying games, or learning to, I don't know, just have a mentality where you're just like, this is entertainment, it's fun. That irks me too. That's just something in our community more so, where they can't really enjoy games anymore. I feel like a lot of people just don't enjoy gaming or know what kind of games they like anymore. That definitely irks the heck out of me, because it's just like a, you know what type, this is something Steel and Pong always preach. It's like, know what type of gamer you are. Like, if you don't like first person shooters and you are reviewing first person shooters and you're like, I don't like this, like, of course you don't like first person shooters. Know what type of games you like and enjoy, and you don't have to enjoy everything because someone else is saying it. Like, if you like multiplayer type games, play multiplayer type games, just know what you as a gamer enjoy. I feel like a lot of people in this community, they don't really know what they enjoy in games, and it's mostly complaining. Like, I hate the fact that this game's grass is not correct, or I don't know. Like, a lot of people start complaining about like minute things, rather than just like, hey, like, this game is fun to play. Like, fun factor is huge for me in a game. Like, if it's feature complete, has like awesome fun factor, I will enjoy it. I feel like a lot of people get into this mentality where they can't enjoy a game, or have to complain about it, or read something. Like, that was a huge thing with Starfield, um, where like other people aren't enjoying it, so that means I can't enjoy it, and that,
Right.
like, that doesn't make sense to me. So that always irks me. Um, so dang, what was the second question?
I love it.
Oh,
Everybody always forgets the second part
dang,
after
what
they
was the
go
second?
through
I
their
can't
frustrations because they get so
remember.
into
I
how
know. I was like,
frustrated they are with what they're saying. And
yeah.
the second half of the question was, what would be a dream come true for 3-bit in the world of gaming? And you can be selfish with this if you wish.
Mm, a dream come true would be a Dreamcast 2
Oh, stop it.
with Sonic Adventure. I want Sonic Adventure to come back, so that would be the launch title. Sonic Adventure Battle 3. But Dreamcast 2, man. I love Sega. I love Dreamcast, was one of my favorite systems of all time. So I was just talking to my dad about this. This is crazy. Um, but yeah, that's my selfish dream come true moment, because I was such a good system. Um, man, I would really wish that came back. Just
I'm
selfishly.
actually going to throw on an extra layer of love on top of that, because
Mhm.
I'm going to say, if I ever seen something like that happen, they would absolutely have to remake
Mm.
Shinmu.
Yo, I, yes, you know the deal. You know the deal.
Yes.
Oh man, Shenmue would be great. Shenmue. Well, I guess they're at 4. I didn't play 3 actually. I forgot that came out. Wow, that's crazy. I played the heck out of 1 and 2. I beat that like multiple times. Um, but yeah, Shenmue. Let's add Shenmue in there as a launch title. Let's add Sonic Adventure Battle 3 as a launch title. Some Power Stone, some Dino Crisis.
Yeah, Power Stone.
Yep, that
Man,
would
if
be
Power
that
Stone
would be
brought back today would be insane. Like think of like the Tekken type graphics for Power Stone. Wow.
that'd be sick, man. And then at the showcase, it's cool that they're bringing some of their old franchises back.
Yeah, your first game for Sega, remember?
Yep,
Bringing that back.
Streets of Rage. That's my game. I did like the new version. I guess the Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I had it
yeah,
playing on
that
the
game's
screen just a
hard.
little bit ago.
Yeah. That game is tough. I play it on hard difficulty. I cannot beat that game. I mean, I beat it on normal difficulty, but I'm trying to rebeat it.
Yeah,
Really
that one girl, don't mess around towards the end. Yo.
Yeah, and then it's like I'm stuck. I think I'm stuck on this toxic level where there's a bunch of spilling stuff on the ground. You have to avoid it. I
can't. know. Yeah, the green sludge and stuff like that.
Yeah, that level's wrecking me. But hey, if you want to help me beat that on hard, let's do it.
I don't know how much help I'd be for you, dog. But I mean, I'm down to get in and try. I mean, I can button mash with the best of them.
Hey, that's all you need, man. I got you.
But yeah. All right. So so that would be hot. A new Shenmue to come out with that Dreamcast 2. Yo, new Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh, yeah, word. Yeah.
Yo, I'm just saying. Like this stuff would be loved a lot. A new Sega Rally, new Daytona. Like yo, they could really get into their bag if they
really could.
had a new console.
You could do some cool stuff with the controller too, because like they had the screen technically on their controller.
The
BMU. So you could do some cool stuff with that too with modern technology, bro.
Yeah, they could just embed it in the controller now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could be interesting. Sega, if you listen to make this happen.
I mean, yeah. I mean, good luck. But anyways, 3-Bit, this has been a wonderful conversation. We got to kick back and talk about all of your history, how you got into gaming, your growth within the industry itself, what you do for a living, and how it pertains to gaming and other, content, media wise and whatnot. And then you actually got into talking about the things that you dislike about gaming as well. And I thought today was a phenomenal episode. And I want to thank you so much for putting aside some time. Sure, it took a year to get you here, but we're here.
We're here.
We're here, and we made it happen. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, 3-Bit.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. Appreciate the persistence of believing that I will be on the show. It's been a fun conversation, so I'm glad we did it. And let's not be strangers. Let's try it again. Let's do it.
Absolutely. I'd love to get you on the panel show that I do every Friday. I do a show called Bull Sitting with my boy Loke. Matt Likes Games, Cozy Beluga, that was in the chat earlier. It's a really fun show. We just goof off and talk about what's been going on, in gaming. I mean, you do that kind of stuff all the time. So I'd love for you to come over on my channel and give that give it a shot and see if you like it and whatnot. But one more time, please let everybody know where they can find you.
Everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bits. Like Hamsel was saying, I'm on different shows. I'm on a Mav show, Fun Speculation, FSP on Mondays at 10 o'clock. And then I'm starting to do another show. So me and Steel Rain are actually starting a show called Pixelated Echoes. That'll be every Sunday, I believe at 2 or 3 o'clock. We're still trying to lock that down. I've been building that whenever I get the free time. So our first episode launches on the 18th.
What's it about?
It's just going to be about like what we did. We just talk gaming. take it from a different perspective, like my industry perspective and his perspective, where knowing who you are as a gamer, I feel like is a common theme that's probably going to go around, because not a lot of people know who they are as a gamer. And yeah, just gaming industry topics. I might go into game development topics here and there, and stuff in the industry that I've experienced, and relating that to current day topics. So yeah, that's a show that's coming up, Pixelated Echoes. Other than that, I'm working on a lot. Doing a lot of commercials for Auto Trader right now. I think that might be done in like a week or two. So once it's officially released, I'll show you guys. But if you want to see some Aflac stuff, just go to the Aflac YouTube. Just did a couple commercial spots with the like bowling and stuff, and that was a fun shoot to be a part of. But yeah, it's been a fun episode, man. I love talking gaming. I love getting to dive into that stuff and share my experience. So I appreciate being on here, and everybody in chat. You guys are awesome. I see you guys a lot. So thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my dead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And like I said, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. You 3-Bit, thank you so much as well. Hope to continue to do podcasting with you in the near future. Make sure you guys continue to pop up on the channel. Tomorrow, obviously, we're doing Bullsitting. We do that show every Friday. Hopefully K Mega's feeling a little bit better. He had some personal stuff that he had to take care of. So we may be back doing the crossover on Monday, but I'm not quite sure yet. I want him to have as much time as he needs to take care of himself and whatnot. And then, on Tuesdays we do the Lowdown with me and Loke. Wednesdays I'm on Matt Likes Games channel. And then this next Thursday for Behind Them Sticks, I got Oh No, It's Alex coming through. And it should be a goofy fun
snap.
show. So make sure you guys tune in next week for Behind Them Sticks as well. But we're here to let you guys know that it's been a good night, and I appreciate everybody for stopping through. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, share this sucker out, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you come back and check out some more of this type of content that I like to produce for y'all. But anyways, this is your boy Ham Solo with the TSWS. Oh, time out. I almost forgot. I want you 3-Bit to describe gaming in just 3 words.
Oh shoot. Cut me off guard.
I almost forgot to do it. That's my favorite thing to do right before I end the show every time.
Escape, joy, passion.
All right, we got escape, joy, and passion. That's what's up. Thank you so much, 3-Bit. And I thank all of you guys for tuning in. This is your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel, letting you know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
Bye, y'all.